So who's been around the course yet? Anyone?
A little bit.
What do we think?
Easy.
Easy. Yeah, there's some vodka in this.
When you're not riding, it's easy.
Actually, you say that, but then if you watch someone who you know ride around, like if I watch my wife ride around, I hate it. So then riding around is easier. So it's all relative.
It's a bit different than mine.
Yeah. I tell you what though, I've been more scared going around at 90 on a horse I was riding with someone than I have been going around here. Because it was useless and I thought I was going to die. Genuinely got on. I rung Yoda and said, can I withdraw before cross country? And she said no. So it's all relative to what you sat on. You know, if you drive a Ferrari, you can go fast, can't you? Yeah. So it's, yeah, when you're on a good jumper, things seem a bit easier. I'm learning that the more and more I do, the better the horse, the easier the job. You know, I'm quite a positive person anyway. For instance, you know Georgie Spence? Yeah, good friend of mine. Did young riders with her, great rider, won a lot of competitions. We went to our first 4-star together down in the south of France, in the Pyrenees. And that would be the first and last time I'll ever travel with Georgie Spence. She knows this, we're good friends, I can say this. So we went down there, we're trucking down, and she's just so negative, you know. So her way of releasing whatever it is, her nerves, is, oh God, that fence, I'm going to die at that. Oh God, this is not alright, oh God, I'm going to die. Oh God, I'm going to die. So I genuinely thought from at the start box, on my first 4-star, I'm going to die. I'm not even religious and I did this. So anyway, I did die. So, so different people deal with it different ways. I like to, she get round, yeah. I got round as well, yeah. So you got to deal with it different ways. So I like to surround myself with people who are really positive or people who are clueless. Because clueless because naive. So my dad, for instance, he's not horsey. He used to race cars a bit. So if I walk the course with him, he'd be like, "What are you doing that? This is the quickest route." You know, you can't understand on my novice horse when I go steady why I'm going slow. He says, "You could have won this show." Whereas my mum's like, "You got to give him a pat, give him a cat, tell him he's a good boy," which is important, but not what you want to think when you go into war. You know. So I think anyone who's you're friends with, who you know, if they're negative, stay away from them. That's my attitude. You know, you want to get pumped up because at the end of the day, they're only jumps. I jump jumps every week. You know what I mean? The big jumps, but it's just stringing them all together, isn't it? You know, working out how your horse is feeling. Is he fit enough? Is he pulling too much? Is he not? So sometimes you're gonna ride the horse, not the time. You know, when everything's in place and it's going well, then you can ride the time because the horses keep going. You know, but you'll see last year, the year before, tired horses or horses that are struggling, the riders want to get round more than thinking about the horse. So it's got to be that fine balance. Yeah, I feel fine now. It varies per event. Tonight, what we got on, we'll be walking the course late, so I'll probably be pretty tired. So I already walked it twice, once today, once yesterday. So I'll have my tea, and then at the minute I'm into Game of Thrones. Does anyone watch Game of Thrones? I actually only started watching it last week though. So I'm on, yeah, don't tell me, I'm on season 4 now, just started season 4. Yeah, so I'm a bit of an addict, you know. Horse riding is like being a drug addict actually, you know, because the feeling you get once you finish is the best. The feeling before, when you don't have those drugs, is horrible. But, so it's, don't do drugs though. So yeah, so that just something that switches me off. So if I listen to music or I got Netflix in the wagon, so I watch that or something like that. When I was younger, I used to go to the bar and drink until I couldn't stand up, but again, I don't recommend that either. My body don't take that as well anymore. So yeah, Louis and my laddie are working for us. He'll make sure the horse has been out for grass, he's had a stretch, he's had his breakfast, he's checked he's drunk enough, water. And then I'll give him a time that I'm going to get on. It's very important at an event like this is not to get on too early as well. Some riders like to go hacking them on that, and that's fine, and that's different for sure. I prefer to take them out in hand and give them some grass, just so that anxiety doesn't build up. You know, like when you go to anything you're a bit uncomfortable with, that builds up in the horse as well. And the longer you're in the warm-up, which I did 1 year with Murray, I was in there too long, and he, you know, would I have had an extra bit of energy at the end of the course maybe? So it's way up at Ballon Dennis, coincidentally, with Shadow Man. I reduced my warm-up time, and he finished really well. He was like cantering and trotting back to the stable. So everyone's got their own little routine with that. But I want to get on, walk up to the top, try and keep focused, and then warm up without doing too much warm up. I used to give 40 minutes. Now I go a bit on the lower side of maybe 30 minutes. He's been out for an hour walking in the morning to have grass, so he's ready to go. And out of that 30 minutes, maybe we'll have maybe 10 minutes just walking around, trotting around, you know, just not really concentrating, letting him just take it all in. And then trotting, cantering, a couple of jumps, one little blast, and then relax him again, and then he'll probably start getting a bit hyper on me anyway. So if he starts sweating and my reins start getting slippery, then I'll not too much. So yeah, that's hopefully how I'm going to do it. Hopefully it works. Well, I was very pleased with the horse actually. He was very spooky going into the arena. He spooked the cameraman. You see that? So my heart dropped a little bit, and I was like, oh come on, please be a good boy. So I did an extra circle, and then when I started, he concentrated, and he's got a bit of a tendency in the canter. He's got quite a big canter, but he finds it difficult to sit. So you do a lot of collective work with him, but he can very easily break into trot. So we're constantly training him to sit, but then he anticipates movement. So like he'll go, do you want me to wake up to go? So he can get a bit jittery, and he didn't do that. So one of his changes was a bit late, and one of the changes from the medium wasn't as good as I wanted it. But overall, I was really pleased with him because he kept it together. There's a little bit more tension in him, in his neck than I wanted. But again, he did everything where he should. So I felt like the horse deserved like a 33, 34. You know, his extended canter was good, his extended trot was good, his medium trot could have been a bit more. But I felt like they didn't give the marks out for the good work, they just maybe punished the bad bits, you know. And there's other riders in the same position, whether they got a better mark or a worse mark. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was very hard today and yesterday.
Yeah, and if you go, I've done it at shows, I've marched up to them, right ready to face, ready to throttle one of them, and it turns out that don't work very well. You know, the division put so much bloody work in. I went into a show in Ireland, I went up to him and I said, you give me 3 4s from the flying change, they'll just give me 8s. What are we looking at? Oh, don't speak to me, it's French. Don't speak to me, I'm not, read your sheet. You didn't write anything on my sheet. Do you know what I mean? So this is, for me, the difficult bit about the sport, because it's great that Hobday's got a fantastic mark and that Austin's very good test. But, you know, was that 20 marks different from my flying change? I don't know. I mean, in pure dressage, I think the judges have judges. You know, I think maybe when it happens to one of the top boys, Fox Bit, with Oliver, maybe it can happen, but they've been in the same position as well. It happens to all of us. I think the sport's about 3 phases, not one. So we've got to just forget about that and focus on the next job, try to do the best we can. It's like a triathlon, isn't it? So. Yeah, well, I've only done one post or 5 stars, you will now, last year in Burley, and previously ridden another Clydesdale, Mulray. He's been around here, and Mulray was a real trier, always did what I wanted, but after 8 minutes, then the pain started setting in, you know, whereas he'd hit that wall, and he'd go, I'm tired now, and if you drop the reins, he would want to stop, but he'd always want to keep going as well, like he'd always fight, he'd real fight you, and with the breeding being like that, I anticipated him, Wizard being a bit like that. He's slightly different. He gets tired, but he just keeps fighting. He's actually a bit faster than Murray. Covers the ground, got a bit bigger stride. Murray's only 16.1, even though he looks pretty big. And this horse, Wizard, he's 16.3, maybe 17 hands. So at Burley, I was a little bit cautious, making sure I had enough in the tank so that, you know, he's a new ride to me at the beginning of the year. I didn't want to go bust halfway around and then the owners go, wait a minute, should have rode that a bit more conservatively, you know. And yeah, give me a great ride. So the plan is to go a bit quicker with him here and try and utilise his stamina a bit more. But but you've got to see it on each day how the feeling is. It's all good and well going flat out. If you go flat out, then you can't stop at one of these fences. You know, they don't fall down so easy, do they? So it's a fine line. I've done. This is my third 3-day event on it. I didn't produce him. I got him beginning of last year. So he did Brahman with me at Burley, and this is my third. And like I said, at Burley, I was a little bit cautious anyway, but he felt good, and he galloped well. I think he's got it in him to make the time. I think I've got to be braver and say, come on, let's go. He's fit, he's well. Like I say, compared to Murray, he gallops more. The horse I've had overall in my career at 4-star. My first horse we bought out Farmer's Guardian. I shouldn't have. He failed the vetting as well. My show-jump trainer told me not to buy him. You know, I was a kid, I was naive, me and my mum were, and we just bought him anyway. My show-jump trainer told me to sell him because he'd not get me jumped down. And then he went around Badminton double clear. We had a lot of time faults, not due to the horse. He would probably be my quickest horse actually, but I had a panic attack. Well, we think it's that. We thought it was somewhat worse than that at first, and I stopped breathing. I don't know if anyone's had one of them, but it was quite embarrassing to a certain extent, but I couldn't breathe, so I was pulling up, get my breath, and try and go again, and he was a great horse. The horse after that, going to be good. It was thoroughbred, but gallop, Graham Fletcher actually bred him. In the politest way possible, was useless. he jumped like this. If you have a Google video there, he jumped like a deer, but he had a heart of gold. And you know when I said I fell off and I got shook up? That was on him when I first got him. And I had him a good spot, and he flipped on me, and I scared myself because I was a good shot, and he felt big and proper. And he's a real sweetheart, this horse was. And I learnt after that, he likes this much more room than any other horse I've ever ridden. And when I stood him off every fence, he went round Burley. My first Burley, he went round amazing. I mean, steady, because he didn't gallop so quick. And if I go too quick, he get too close near it, and he make a mistake. And then Murray after that was heavyweight as such. Do you know what I mean? So I hope, I don't want to speak too soon, but I hope Shadowman is the first horse for me that potentially has the ability in all 3 phases. I think that's the fairest thing to say, to be up at this level. Because Wizard has got that ability. He shows up in his weak phase. His dressage is good, but not comparing to the top boys. You know, so I'm not putting the horse down because he's very good. But when you're competing against the likes of William, Oliver, Pickett, you know, they don't make mistakes, so you can't make mistakes. And when you don't make mistakes, if you're behind them, you ain't going to win. So you've got to find a good horse. You can try and be perfect to beat them. Do you know what I mean? So it's not easy. But Wizard, we're going to give him our best shot. I think yeah, that is the main thing. That's very common. Mine could have 4 down, you know, it's difficult. I think at home you can practice that. So what we tend to do, if we take them to gallops one day, we'll take them for a hat the next day and then jump them just to see what they give you. Every horse is different. But once he's finished his test, it's 50-50. You've got to give him time to rest, but then you've got to, what they call maybe working on them, whether you ice the legs, walk them out to stretch them, get rid of that lactic acid. So it's a fine line. If you've got a problem, then you've got to maybe do more icing, more work, and also as a rider and an owner, competitor, and a horseman, you've got to weigh up. Is this something that is something and nothing, which around the show jumps is never going to affect them, you know, or is it something that could damage them further? Do you know what I mean? And you've got to be very sensible about that. But these horses want to do the job. I'll stress that right now. You know, they love doing it. So, but they'll get back. They'll have ice boots on as they finish. They'll be washed off and cooled down to the temperatures back to normal. The heart rate's back to normal. And they go back to the stable. I like to give them half an hour just to chill, let it all soak in, let that adrenaline leave the system, because that's one of the most tiring things is the adrenaline. And then they'll come out and have some grass. But generally, be quite chuffy themselves then. Give them loads of polos and carrots. The owners come and give them 20 kisses, you know. And then they have grass, a bit of peace, and then give them little feeds then with electrolytes in and let them rest. And then once they've had a couple hours rest, boom, have a bit of rest, have something to eat, and then come back out, jog them up. As long as all okay, they'll go for some grass again. Just stretch the muscles. If there is a problem and it's workable, then we've got to ice until you know, any inflammation goes or they're more comfortable. Regarding to the show jumping the next day, I put that down to the fitness beforehand. You know, the fitter the horse, the more they're going to be able to take the pain on the cross country. And I call it pain because it's all good and well doing a certain amount of canter work, but nothing prepares them for 4 miles, 12 minutes of galloping with 40 jumps. You know, I get a bit of an arse twinge going to a few of them. But look, the fear is more about making a mistake. It's not about the height of the jump. I know the horse can jump, I know I can jump. But one small mistake cost me the whole show. Cost me 6 months of work. That's what the fear is for every rider. Everyone wants to win, everyone's competitive. Yeah? Everyone's annoyed when it goes wrong. So I think with Oliver last year, he was just annoyed. He portrayed himself in the wrong way for sure. People can say what they want on the internet, but in that glimpse he said the wrong thing. Okay? He needs to learn to do that better. But he's competitive more than most, and that's why he's winning. Everyone here wants to do the best they can, and them small mistakes are frustrating as hell. You know, so, and you see the more experienced riders, you know, they can foresee things happening and ride accordingly. You know, if the horse is tired, they'll quickly change the plan. You know, that's clever riding. That's not being a pussy. Oh, I didn't go the long route there. No, he's thinking clever. You know, do you watch Kentucky anymore? Oliver went one wrong long route on Dorsey Winner because he pecked on line with him. He probably could have still gone straight, but that was like instantly clicking. What else did he shout? Long route was top of his voice, so the fence judge couldn't accuse him of not doing it. You know, it's these split-second decisions that people win like that. You know, so it's. You've got to trust your gut a little bit, and at home in training with our students, you know, we show jump quite a lot, and I like walking distances. I like knowing I'd be more here than I would be hunting the forward style. However, what we like to do at home is what I call working on our natural feel. So we might plug some jumps up and say ride it, and then some of the students will knock them out or really fall off. Because they're not thinking naturally, they're just thinking like robots, you know, do this. So he said 3 strides, so it must be 3 strides. You know, Em and my wife and Seb, my step jockey, come down on the line. They've done it 3 times that week, and yet they still ride it on a long run and get it wrong. I think you've done that 10 bloody times each time on the 3 horses you're ridden. So the more you do what I call, if you put yourself in an uncomfortable situation and make it comfortable, then you speed up your reaction time. And that's what can happen on the cross country, can't it? You can make one mistake, the horse can trip, and if you don't react quickly, it's game over. So you've got to be able to just deal with it and be back in the game. And training that at home can be quite fun as well, because you can make loads of different things and make it easy. We've got some corners and skinnies, a big skinny brush in our arena, and they're actually only like novice height, but when you put them in a certain place, they're just as tough as badminton. You know, and I want to be able to get on the wrong run and make it right. You know, and also I want my horse to think like that. And, you know, horses learn through confidence and repetition. The more confident they are, the more they'll help you and the more they'll try for you. And the more you say the right thing, not the right thing, the same thing to her, they'll learn that. So if you say the wrong thing to her, you ever seen, you go to a show and you see someone, and every single time they come round to the fence, 3 strides out they go. Yeah? And the horse just jumps clear, and you think, how the hell can they go clear every time? Yeah? And then you see that jump up with a kid with all the gear, all the bling, changing the stride, then the horse stops last minute and decks him. Seen that, yeah? Because the first horse, even though it's not perfect, it's consistent. So the horse knows what's coming, so it knows how to react. Whereas the person that's chopping and changing at every single stride, the horse doesn't know what's coming, so it doesn't trust the rider. So it's protecting itself by stopping. So if you can try and ride consistently, obviously we want to try and ride consistently good, give the horse what it needs, then they're more likely to help you. And if you do get it wrong, the confidence is high, so the horse can help you as well. Do you know what I mean? I will, yeah. Shadow Brett will be on board. You know, the Willberry Wonder Pony charity has done some great work, and you know, Hannah's legacy continues. They've helped hundreds and hundreds of people. We've had people on Willberry Wishes visiting us at the stables, visiting up at the yard, and I think it's an incredible charity, and I think Hannah would be very proud of where it's gone, you know. She started that from a hospital bed. It's difficult when you're in that situation, you know, everything disappears. Anything you're worried about just disappears. And it's weird because you sat here now, you look out, and everything else in the world continues apart from what's happening to you. So you've got to give yourself some goal as such to do. And actually, it was probably a bad move at the time. I remember in January, tried to go running to get fitter because I lost a lot of weight. I went down to just under 9 stone, and with chemotherapy, you get what they call chemo belly or deli belly, whatever you call it, because you have a lot of fluid put into you. So I wanted to get rid of that more than anything. But trying to get fit was difficult because all my muscles, and I've been sat in bed for 6 months, so my muscles kept tying up like a horse would. So that was really frustrating physically, but mentally very frustrating. So, and maybe where I used to be riding 15 horses a day, I've gone from that to being able to ride 1 to 2 and being knackered. I mean, like exhausted. So that was pretty difficult. And lazy horses or sharp horses were even more difficult because when they were lazy, I was overexerting myself, and when they were sharp, I was getting tense. And I think then the chemotherapy still in my system. So now I feel a lot better. But the doctor said initially, you know, it'd be sort of 6 to 8 months before I'd feel anywhere near normal. Normal's not maybe the right word, but myself and fitness-wise. And actually, it probably took a bit longer because things that maybe people would notice. I get tired a lot quicker even now. But you've got to just, no matter what the problem is, everyone's got problems. Mine was a big problem than some, but I seen 10 other people next to me with worse problems than me. Problems that they ain't even come back from. So there's days that are very difficult, and they're always going to be difficult, and that's what I've got to live with now. But I'm still living, and that's what you got to keep having with any problem.
Living the dream.
Yeah, you know, life's what you make of it, and being here, we're not winning yet, but I'll win it. I will. And then anyone who doubted me, I'll give them that. But you know what I mean? But back to the psyching yourself up for it. Very easy to doubt yourself, and that's at every level, that's not just here. And I think in this sport it's quite predominant because you're on your own in your arena at home, aren't you? You're going to your first 3-star, it's quite nerve-wracking, and then you have a bad experience and you go, is it me, is it the horse, can I do it? You know, I fell off a horse once and got up, I had a big rotational on it, I didn't know what happened, I was under a shock. It shook me, you know. I got another horse straight away, and that helped me get back on it. But you've got when you have a knock, you just got to keep going. What you don't see about Oliver, who's in the lead, Willie Foxpit, who's won this how many times, Mary King, they've had more knocks than you or me put together, but they just keep getting up, and then you see their good bits, you know. And I remember walking the course in France with William the year I went with Georgia, because I thought, get away, Georgia. this tall fellow knows what he's talking about. And that year, I said to him, in my eyes, he's one of my heroes, you know, him and Pippa. I said, William, you just win everything, don't you? He said, well, I've been to this event, I can't even tell you how many times, and I've never won it. I either fall off or I stop. And that year he won it. And that just made me think, well, if he can keep on doing it, and even now after his injury, he got back up and he's doing it. And maybe he's not at the level he was, not the level, he's not winning as much at the minute, is it? But then he went and won a Barbary last year, last year I think it was, just like that. So he's a champion, absolute champion. But if you doubt yourself, if you listen to everyone else, you're never going to do it, are you? So at any level, you just got to do it for yourself, I think, and then eventually it'll happen. But to compete at this level, you know, the struggle that the top boys, Janelle Price and Tim, they've been through to get, you know, we're seeing here them win. We ain't seeing what they've gone through to get to that win. all of them, everyone here. I think that's why it's one of them sports as well where if someone else wins, you can be happy for them. Genuinely, because you know how friggin' hard it is. Do you know what I mean? If I'm having a tough time somewhere, I remember Tim come up to me and trotted past to give me a bit of advice, you know, and that, it means quite a lot. So it's just who we can go right for on that day. It depends on every horse. Every horse has a different what's the word? Different diet. Yeah, that's the word. Wizards are on. Have you heard of Eastern Excel by Bailey's? He's on 2 scoops of that in the morning. Some Bailey's Outshine, some Balancer, and he has a little bit of fibre bean as well. He does that twice a day. Here we split his feeds up and he'll have extra feeds throughout the day. You know, we've got to fuel them. He does a lot of work, and it's not about them just looking fit and skinny, because it ain't that. You've got to fuel them. You know, if you look at him, he's run up, tight, but he's got good condition on him. And there's a fine line, in my opinion. Some people do it well, some people don't. But if you don't, at the end of the course, especially with a horse like him, you'll feel it. So the difficult part is when you're fueling an animal like that, is to keep him calm for the dressage. So, you know, I've been up and down this track to the dressage arena 100 times, to the point where he comes up and he stops because he don't want to go up anymore. I came up this morning but in a jumping bit and he didn't want to go up thinking, as soon as I jumped him, he kind of knew the cracks. It'd be interesting to see what he does tomorrow. These horses are real clever. They know. I took a hack on the day before come, I think, was it Sunday? Did an Instagram live, if any of you is on Instagram. So I did that. And normally when we have to go in groups, and he went on his own, and he knew what was going on. He got dead excited. It's his special time. And then all my other horses looking at me going, why am I not getting the attention now? I cannot believe you only paid £3.50 to get this great service. I'll tell you what, you need to tell your friends about it, because coming to Badminton is pretty awesome, isn't it? Pretty awesome. So it's been lovely meeting you all anyway.